Hey guys, so no big fancy news yet. We haven't signed on the house. And since we can't do anything permanent to the property yet, I've been doing a lot of planning. I've had a lot of people ask me what we want to do first, how we want to dig in and get started. So I'm going to tell you guys. So my plans are pretty, I guess, basic. I have these big, huge homestead dreams, but I know that realistically, starting out, I don't want to just pour a bunch of money into it. I'd rather get started, if that makes sense. So for instance, the chicken coop. I would love to just go and build a nice, huge walk-in coop. But really, if I want to get started with chickens, I might as well do something a little less expensive and easier starting out, and then gradually upgrade to that point as the resources become available. So for the chickens, first I'm just going to build a big chicken tractor, probably one that I can walk in out of like cattle panels or something. Just something easy but safe and functional, because even once we have a big coop, I'll still use that for our meat birds. Anyway, so I just kind of have a lot of ideas like that, where we start in one way that will still be functional later, but it's not the goal, you know? The very first animal that I would really like to get would be goats. I love dairy goats. They're great. We had La Mancha before, and that's what I would prefer to get again, but they're not that easy to find around here. I've been shopping. I shouldn't be, because I'm just breaking my own heart when I do find something. And the ones I've been able to find are generally like 4 to 6 hours away, which is fine. I'll make the drive, like they're worth it to me. Getting ready for goats though, we have to secure the fence in the back pasture, and we have to build some kind of shelter out there. There's lots of trees and stuff, but if you don't know, goats hate rain, and it rains a good bit here. So they need something to get out of the weather. If I end up buying dough that's in milk or bread, I need to have my milk station all set up. I really need to have my milk supplies, and one of my biggest things before we get any more livestock is I want to have a like emergency medical kit, just like already done. Emergency kit is like A1, have to do that before we get any more animals. Realistically, the very first thing we're going to do is start working on our garden. So that means cutting down some trees, tarping the ground to kill the grass. We're gonna have to till it this first time. Eventually, I would love to have a big raised garden, like the built up boxes. Here in the South, it's so hot and so humid that it's a little hard to garden on the ground because the moisture gets trapped and you get all disease, and it's not fun. And it's pretty, and I think that it's okay to do things just because it's pretty. Anyway, so actually I have started planning the garden already, because we have 110 days until our first frost. Here in Southwest Georgia, it says that our first frost is supposed to be like the middle of November, but the past couple of years it hasn't been until almost January. So we'll just kind of play around with it and see how it goes. Worst that happens is I learn something from a failed garden, or best that happens, we have more than one harvest. So we'll see. I've talked a little bit about how I really like to plan things. Once we got serious about getting this house, I got really serious about my plans. Let me just show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. So this is my notebook of blueprints and plans, and it's all to scale. I am not an organized person in any other aspect than planning. So let's dig in this. My original plan for the backyard, we have garden, pigs, chickens, rabbits, and this will be a quarantine for goats or like our herd animals that will be in pasture. This is our shed that'll be the milking stand and the doe paddock. This is the plan that I made for a rabbit tractor. I need to just go outside and try to build one to see if this is really the style that I like, but it's the plan I'm working with currently. We have the milking parlor. Here's the shed. This is the top view that's got the doe paddock, and then this is internal bird's eye view. So we have the milk stand and hay storage and grain. We have a big deep freezer that'll be out there, and I want to put a refrigerator specifically for milk so that we can keep it at a colder temperature and have a place to put it, because you do get overrun at some points. Yesterday's project was figuring out what I wanted to plant late summer for, a fall harvest. I came up with a list, I watched a lot of YouTube videos, did some Pinterest research, and came up with some things that I think will work really well for us. A lot of this I've never tried to grow before, and we'll just see what happens. But last night I really sat down and started plotting out where I wanted to plant stuff, because it's just lawn back there. It's really pretty, but I have to start from scratch, so I need to have a good idea of what size I need to till and tarp and all of that good stuff. I don't want to just go into it blind. So here is my tentative plan. It might change again, and that's okay, but here's what I've got. Alright, so here's what we're growing for our fall garden. Is it called a fall garden or like late summer? We're harvesting in the fall? So I think that's called a fall. Whatever, correct me if I'm wrong. So, first off, I have brandywine tomatoes, zinnias, the table queen squash, Brussels sprouts, pickling cucumbers, broccoli, cabbage, kale, pumpkin blend, onions, carrots, radishes, whole beans, Swiss chard, turnips, butternut squash, and spaghetti squash. So I'm excited. A lot of these I haven't tried to grow before. I've grown like the pole beans. My mom off and on had a garden growing up. So I've done pole beans. I think that might really be it. I did carrots one time. When we lived in West Virginia, we had like this little small garden, and we really didn't take care of it. We just kind of let it go. And after we moved out of that house, we went back to just get a couple things, and my mom and I decided to walk through the garden, and it was like 6 months later or something crazy, and I went to where I planted all the carrots, and we pulled up like a bunch of them. It was really cool. So So today's project for me is going through my calendar and adding in when I need to start certain seeds, when they should be planted by, when I need to get the ground tarped and tilled and just all of that good stuff. Taking a page out of Jessica's book from Roots and Refuge and writing it all down. Anyways, that's pretty much it for here. That's all of the things we plan to do, like straight away. Well, until next time, peace be with you.